It's really more like for group sessions. So I'll go to a party or somebody's going to hire me to speak on a panel. That is like the core of what I do. I used to be like in sex coaching until pandemic hit, and now I'm more just like keeping to my online business and people asking me to do one of my workshops that I offer on my website, and it's fun. The kind of people that hire me are, mostly women, even though I market myself as a gay sex educator. So I do have a lot of female clients. However, when it comes to panels, that's when the queer community starts to reach out to me.
Nice. Ladies and
Mm.
gentlemen, we are here with a magnificent guest. He we're going to talk about being a chaotic homo. We're going to talk
Chaos.
about chaos. Chaos reigns, as Lars Van Trier says. We're going to talk about sex education, being an escort. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff. Please welcome the host of Sex Ed with Tim Lagman. Say hello,
Woo.
Tim. What's going on?
Hello, Tim. What's going on?
Yeah, good. So tell me, what's inspiring you these days? I need some inspiration today, specifically. Please tell me.
Inspire, like in what terms? In
I don't know
sex?
these days. Yeah, and anything. Seriously, anything. What's inspiring you these days?
Well, what's inspiring me right now? I'm getting inspired by the increasing droves of tops that want to fuck me. So that's great.
Okay, let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like I've been getting a lot of gay guys who have been hearing about the show and have been seeing my work online, and then they kind of slide into my DMs and I go, "Okay, well, let's give this a shot." I'm not one to normally sleep with fans of the show,
Hmm.
but I figured, you know what? Why not try?
Yeah.
So I've been inspired by the fans who are who just so happen to be tops.
Nice. Nice. So what? Okay, let me answer this. What is the most memorable? I don't want to say obscene, but let's say just memorable intro that
Mm,
someone said to you. Oh, just so you know, I could take you out of the shot and put you back in. Like,
that's okay.
okay, just so you don't get confused. All
No,
right,
no, no, it's all
most
good.
memorable way someone approached you.
The most memorable way someone approached me. Oh my god,
You
they're
slid
all.
into your DMs.
If I'm gonna be
Hi,
honest, I don't
Tim.
remember any of them because who can remember a man? Sorry. I I'm not even kidding, Nick. I have a spreadsheet somewhere in my Google Drive of every single guy I've ever slept with, and I saw the row count, and it's like past 2,000. So
Nice,
I,
nice.
but if I were to give like a memorable example,
Hmm.
it would be the first thing this guy ever said to me when I was escorting his. He goes, "Please don't tell my wife," and I'm like, how about let's start with names first, or
Yeah.
something, and also, how in the
Tim,
hell
don't
would I
tell my
know your
wife.
wife? Yeah,
Tim,
yeah.
don't
Most of
tell
my
my wife.
clients, yeah, most of my clients were guys. So, um, I was like, how in the hell would I know your wife? Okay, hold on. Let's backtrack here. Let's get through the formalities before we get through the boundaries.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to talk about that. We're going to talk more about people sliding into DMs in your DMs. We're going to talk about your escort days, but let's just talk about your podcast. Let's start off with that, right?
Sure.
Tell us about your podcast.
So my podcast is Sex Ed with Tim. I started it literally in the pandemic when I just couldn't go out and see my clients anymore. So I'm like, how do I keep this business up? How do I keep up my sex education following and continue to pursue my dreams? So I looked into moving my entire business model online. That's when I launched the website. That's when I started looking for guests who would be interested in coming on the show. And I was finally able to collect enough episodes to launch my website. Ooh, I think it was, yeah, no, it was June of 2020. So June of 2020 hit, and then I start to get a really small following. It starts to reach a more global audience. And now I'm here, season 4. I think I'm at 105 episodes right now. So, yeah, going strong. And I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. It's really fun.
Nice. What would you say your biggest challenge is so far? I mean, since throughout it's been a couple years, right? It's been since the pandemic. What would you say the main challenge of starting a podcast, especially a sex education podcast?
Oh, yeah. The biggest challenge was getting an audience to begin with, because I didn't know if anybody wanted to hear this drivel, this garbage that spews out of my mouth. Because I mostly speak from experience and a little bit of formal education, but I didn't know if that was going to be any good for any, like, I don't know if anyone was going to be interested in that. And I just took a risk. So getting the audience I have now was a little scary, but now I'm like, I think what, 100 downloads within the first like day, and then it just climbs up and up and up. And it and another challenge would be to actually find guests that I vibe with. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm a very personable guy. I mean, everybody likes me, everybody wants to fuck me, everybody thinks I'm cute. I get it. I
You got
understand.
tons of guys sliding in your DMs.
I'm beautiful. I
You are
understand, okay? I'm
sexy motherfucker. You.
I'm also I'm also the most humble person you're ever going to see on the entire planet. Now, it's so that was the challenge, right? Finding guests that I knew I was going to vibe with, as well as getting that content out to the audience. But for some reason, people just love to hear me and I guess like banter. I think that's what I
Yeah.
do best. It's the banter, it's the comedic like exchange, or just me able to, I don't know, spew some random shit at the top of my head.
You're also a fan of comedy, though, correct?
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm a.
I
I love comedy. Who would you say your biggest influences are?
Oh my god. Okay. There's so many. So when I tried comedy like stand up for the first time, I tanked, I bombed. I was like, I can't do this anymore. Writing a tight 5 is so difficult. But when it comes to comedy influences, I look to, like, for example, the legend like Carlin and Pryor, and then the more modern comics I look up to are people like Ali Wong,
Mm.
Tig Notaro, uh, Andrew Schultz, Tom Segura, and I think my favorite one of all would have to be Anthony Jeselnik, the
Oh,
king of dark comedy.
incredibly sharp, brutal,
So good, so good.
brutally. Like, oh, you don't want to like how good he is.
Yeah,
That's
it's
how good he is.
amazing. I just
Yeah.
saw him live a couple weeks ago. So good.
Thoughts and prayers. He had that show for like a season, the
Yeah.
Jeselnik Offensive.
That's
Yeah.
my favorite. It was like the
Shakespeare and
thing.
Caligula.
Yeah. But like my favorite line from Thoughts and Prayers was when he was like, "Oh, the moment that I saw what was happening in Aurora during the Dark Knight Rises or whatever." And
Yeah.
then he sees people's like prayer thoughts and prayers for Aurora. And then he goes, "Other than that, how was the movie?"
I'm a huge
So good.
I need comedy in my life. I really really do. I'm a huge fan of the Best Show, Tom Sharpling.
Mm,
The Best Show now is a podcast. So him and
mhm.
John Worster have some really good bits, and that is like a hub for people like Zach Galifianakis, Patton Oswald, Mark Maron, all that stuff. I
Yeah,
love that. But let's
those
get
are good.
back to the Stan has a question. It's not the question, but it is a question. Stan Vladimir asks: people who are interested in visiting a sex worker, who are new to visiting a sex worker, what are some red flags they should know?
So I'm guessing this is coming from like the point of view of a client. What are some red flags to look
Yes,
out for in a sex worker?
yes,
Well, things to look out for are like, first of all, are they brand new? Ask them how long they've been in the business, because You want someone who's actually experienced and good at what they do, not just some random twink that decided, "Hey, I'm just gonna fuck for money." Like, no, get out of here. Shut the hell up. Go put on a butt plug for the next 5 years or so, and then come back. We'll talk. And then I also watch out for sex workers who charge on very specific things. So, what I mean by that is I charge for the hour. No matter what we do, it's that 1 hour, it's that rate. I had a friend, or maybe not a friend, he was a colleague, who charged per orgasm. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, yeah, I should have charged him twice because I made him come twice. I'm like, that's insane. That you're robbing a client at that point.
Yeah,
So
some people go to sex workers and not even come, or to come
yeah,
multiple times. All
yeah,
yeah, I mean, that is wild.
yeah,
Ah,
yeah. Also, like, watch out for sex workers who are catfishing because mm, nobody wants to get catfished, right? I
mhm.
ordered, I ordered this thing from the Amazon, the high end spots of it, and I get what Wish, I get Sheen. Nah, mm-mm, not me.
Speaking of catfish is out there. If you are doing it, you are a horrible person. I'm
Yep,
sorry. It's like you're a piece.
you're a piece
You
of shit. Go
deserve
to hell.
you. Yeah, no, you deserve to be lonely and have nothing cool ever happen to you in your life ever.
Exactly.
So
I
don't do
will
it.
say though, I will say that if somebody starts using my pictures for catfishing, thank you. I'm very flattered because that means I'm hot enough to be someone's like bait.
Yeah, well, once they start taking money away from you, that my very good friend Nico Noir, she has one ID, one Instagram, one Facebook, one Twitter, and yet there's catfishes. Every I know so many people because I interviewed people in the kink community, especially dominatrixes, and then I get like messages, "Hi, are you into BDSM lifestyle?" And I'm like, "I just talked to you yesterday." I was like, "I know you stop." So I'm one of these guys who, like, if a telemarketer calls me, I'm gonna talk with them just to mess with them. You know what I mean? So I do that. I do that with the catfishes too. I'm really guilty of that. I once got them to give me money.
Mhm.
You know, there's ways to do it. Yeah.
It's
Um,
amazing.
it's just, please don't do it. Please don't catfish everybody. Okay, let's
I
get
wish
back.
I had the patience though. I wish I had the patience to fuck with a catfish or a telemarketer, but now these days I'm just like I'll either hang up or just all right,
The
block.
same, just so you know, out there, the same concept is going on with jobs.
Mhm.
People are applying for jobs and people get catfished, and they say they work for a company and they don't work for a company. They only speak through like Microsoft Teams or something
Yeah.
like that. Don't trust it. As Pete Public Enemy says, don't trust it. All right, back
Mhm.
to the podcast. What are some very interesting things that the beauty of podcasts is that a lot of stuff happens in the moment. That's why this is always raw. It's always live, lo-fi, everything in the moment. What are
Mhm.
some moments that happened in your podcast that that you take with you, that happened only in that moment, that weren't planned at all?
Some things that happen in the moment. I do have guests that come on and tell me new things within at least like kink or sex or just things that I never knew. That's a common misconception with sex educators is that we're supposed to be the professional, the be all, know it all thing of everything human sexuality. But the thing is, we're not. I still don't know everything there is about kink or tech or whatever. I do know enough to tell you how to have the best sex of your life and how to come like a fucking fountain. So when I invite guests to teach me some things, I like it gives me pause and I just appreciate the new knowledge I get. For example, I interviewed a dominatrix who taught me all about cigar play. I was like, "What? Cigar play's a thing?" So it was about like how you can light up a cigar and the erotic art of actually lighting it up and brushing the ember across your arm so that you can feel the warmth. And even to where like you use the smoke from the cigar to like slowly crawl over their skin. Like people actually get turned on by that. I never knew. So yeah, I
Oh
really
yeah.
like learning new things from my guests.
It is so wild. Ever since, I mean, I let's say I did my research before because I was kind of in the kink community. I was going to munches and parties and stuff like that. But once I started interviewing people, like wow, the kink rabbit hole goes deep, and it
Mm.
never ends. It never ends. I'm into things that I never thought I'd be into, and even just it's not just kink; it's just taste. Really, are you? How have you changed throughout the years?
Throughout the years,
Yeah.
throughout the number of thousands of guys I've been with.
Yeah, because that's a lot.
Also,
A lot
yeah,
of input
also,
and
I have
output.
not updated that spreadsheet in a while, so it's probably way more. How have I changed? I know what I like and what I don't like. I used to say yes to literally everything. I'd be like,
Mhm.
"Oh, you're gonna piss on me? Yes. You're gonna shit? Yes. Blood? Yeah." And now I'm like, "Okay, hold on. That's actually not my thing anymore." Like these days, my kink goes as far as like being in a sling, blindfolded and restrained, and being fucked really hard. And I don't want to go anywhere beyond that anymore. Whereas I used to be like, play with knives and needles and sounding rods and all the fluids that come out of your body, play with it. Now I'm just like, I'd really just like to lie down in starfish position and you go down on me and I'm going to fall asleep until you finish.
That's pretty extreme for some people. You know,
Starfish?
for some
Yeah.
people, it's like, oh, if if my parents walked in on me like that, they would, be like, Nick, what are you doing? we,
We're just dancing.
yeah. We got another question. Stan Vladimir says, "What about if a sex worker charges you for each item? For example, you want me to use this dildo, $50. If you want me to use that dildo as well, $60. What
I don't
about that?"
like that. I mean, here's the thing. A sex worker, depending on who you approach, is going to have their own business model. Every sex worker operates differently. I'm not a fan of a menu of items where you pay per thing. I am clocking in and clocking out of work, and whatever we do in that hour is fixed, you know? Because really, I come from a philosophy of paying the sex worker for their time, not for the services provided, right? Like, you pay
Oh
me for
yeah.
the hour, whatever it is that we do within that hour is between two consenting adults, nothing more. Like I'm not gonna add on bonuses on that. Like I'll charge you if we go over the hour, like for a
Mhm.
partial hour or something, but never for a specific act. To me, that doesn't make any sense. I don't know.
Yes,
That's
and
just me.
I I agree. It's all about time. It's all about the
Hmm.
time and attention. Attention is currency. They say time is money. Attention is currency.
Hmm.
In the sense that, yeah, and one of my rules is never waste the dom's time. I'm friends
Hmm.
with dominatrixes like for years. I'm lifetime friends with them. And you did one thing: you just don't waste as a. I'm not their subs, but just as as a dot, you just never waste the time. So don't waste anyone's time. Yeah. So yeah, time is just don't waste anyone's time. So what are
Hmm.
some misconceptions about you being a garbage slut? Garbage slut. You garbage slut. You.
Fuck yeah! Straight out of a dumpster and into your bedroom, bitch. So I call myself this garbage slut because I love to call myself filthy and I have a lot of sex. But I think it turns off a lot of people, or rather, it intimidates them because I own it, that identity so
Yeah.
wholly. Whole,
Hmm.
yeah. So I'll get comments like, "Oh, you've probably been with so many guys that you're riddled with STIs," which I actually just got from a guy not too long ago. It's like, "Ew, you slept with that many guys? You're probably dirty." And I'm like, um, "Sweetie, I get checked every 3 months, and it's a clean bill of health every single time. So go check yourself."
Nice.
So I am like on top of my sexual health, and I feel like when people are so quick to slut shame, they think that, it's always some, I don't know, chlamydia, gonorrhea,
Mhm.
HIV, something, when really that's not the case. I think it's the people who embrace their sluttiness that are on top of their sexual health more than the regular average person.
Can you say that again?
It's the people who embrace their sluttiness that are more on top of their health than the average person. They're
Slutty.
responsible. We're responsible. In order for me to be a slut, I need to be alive and I need to be like negative for everything. If I want to
Mhm.
keep having sex, I need to make sure my asshole and my dick are in working condition, or else the factory's closed. That's one of the
Right.
things that I learned as
Yeah.
a sex worker, right? Because if I got an STI as a sex worker, I'm out of commission. I I am I can't take on any new clients unless they were like, "No, I don't wanna have any sex. I'll just, I wanna cuddle." I'm like, "Okay, great." But I'm not gonna go into that session with, like, a burning sensation in my dick. I'm like, I
Mhm.
can't work like that.
Yeah. I'm very curious about when you said that you own it. You own your sexuality, and you own that you love sex. I do too, and I end up talking about it way too much. I have a show where I talk about it. You do too, and I'm sure there are people. I'm sure it's been said to you, "This is not about sex," or "Are you don't talk? Stop talking about sex," or "Is it about sex?" Or I gotta tell you something. Oh, is it about sex or something like that, or sex related? So how do you deal with that of people just expecting you to always talk about sex all the time?
I tell them, "You know what? Can I just be a person?"
Right on.
I you know, can I just
Yeah.
can I just talk? Because there it goes back to this expectation that sex educators should be on top of everything, and also, we're always like sex, 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 sex. Everything is all about sex.
Mhm.
But the thing is, everything around us is related to sex, but we can't think about sex if we don't talk about the things that surround sex. So, for example, uh, your sexual health is very much tied to your physical health. I'm diabetic. I need to talk about my diabetes and I need to maintain my blood sugar in order for me to actually feel good so that I'm horny and turned on. I need
Yeah.
to be mentally there. I have anxiety and I have depression. I need to talk about mental health and defeating the stigma around mental health in order for me to be on all fours and taking it up the ass like a champ, or else I'm gonna zone out. I'm gonna
I
like
yeah,
go in a different space.
100%. I had a liver transplant,
Mm.
a little more than 2 years ago, a little more than 2 years ago, not much. And I'm constantly have to be aware of what I eat, how much I eat. I can't drink any alcohol, obviously, but just everything has to have how much I could lift just physically, and it
Mm.
because it all affects. Because you know why? I want to fuck. I want to fuck well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I like, right? So that means I'm doing my sit-ups and push-ups, and I'm trying to eat right, and I'm trying to stay on
Mhm.
top of my body,
Yeah.
just
Because your
just to
brain is the
live.
biggest sexual organ.
Yeah.
Everything that affects your emotions, your body, your overall well-being, that's gonna affect your sex life. You're not gonna fuck well if you don't feel well.
When you said that question, "Can I just be a person?" I'm surprised. That should be merch. We should have like, yeah. Can I just be a because that's a lot of us in these times, right? That's all we're just trying to be.
Yeah.
We're just trying to be people.
I'm
Yeah.
just I'm a slut in the sheets and a regular person in the streets. Like,
Garbage
sue
slut.
me. Yeah.
So okay, garbage slut. What is the dirtiest thing you that comes to mind that you've done?
That
Yeah, I'm
I've
gonna put it on the
done?
screen too.
Oh my god. What's the dirtiest thing I've done? Are we talking dirty like physically or dirty as in like ethically?
You, well, this is a podcast. Let's do physically.
Physically? I've done some pretty ethically, morally gray things out there, Nick. So, physically, oh boy. Uh, I remember in like the last days of my escorting, like maybe the last year or something, somebody asked me to take part in scat play.
Oh,
And yeah, this was very new to me because I've, like I said, I'm young. I was 23 at the time or 22. And I was like, yeah, sure, I'll do anything. This guy, I go to his apartment and it is just like on the walls,
oh no.
on his sheets, on his beard,
Oh,
on his beard. Ugh.
I didn't want to ask. I wanted to ask this.
Yeah. So yeah, well, you know what? You did. You asked.
Mm. Yeah, I did.
You
I'll
dug
own
your
up
own
to it.
hole.
Yeah, it's true.
So I went to his place and I was like, you know what? I can't do this on demand. I'm a shy pooper, okay? Sue me for wanting some privacy.
Oh,
So we kind of came to this sort of like midway agreement that how about I just use the frozen grapes in your fridge?
okay.
Shoved them up my ass. He popped like he lied down on the floor, back and mouth up. I popped a squat right over his mouth, and then I just started pushing out the grapes. And
I'll do it.
after like maybe five, and it was like clean grapes, I was like, all right, this is it. We're done.
This is it. Okay.
Done. Yeah.
So you are also a, as you say, a chaotic homo. Chaotic homo.
Chaotic,
I
chaos.
am a firm believer in chaos. The second law of
Hmm.
thermodynamics is chaos is always increasing unless
Hmm.
unless compelled by force, or less,
Hmm.
against force, basically. So you need
Hmm.
force. Chaos is always increasing. Tell me about your relationship with chaos.
I love to go against the grain. I love to stir some shit. That's what I mean by chaotic, right? Like causing a little chaos, because who wants to follow the norm? The norm is boring. The norm is not where I want to be. I am very much into challenging people's way of thinking. I really love asking why questions like, why did you do that? Why did you send me a dick pic? Why are you into that? Why do you hate it? It really stirs up conversation. And it does kind of seep into politics sometimes where I'm like, why do you put your funds there instead of there? Why do you want to support this platform and not that? I love causing a little chaos every now and then, even in my friendships. When I catch someone doing a really shady, sketchy thing, I'll be like, hmm, do I tell your partner that I saw you cheat on him? Maybe I'll do like a little note or something. Like in high school, write it on a little note, fold it up, and slide it under his door. And none will be the wiser. So yeah, I love just making things more difficult for people.
Mhm. Well, thank you for not making this difficult for me. So, how does the chaotic homo come out?
Mhm.
What was that like?
What do you mean? How does
Coming
it come
out,
out?
like
Oh, my
coming
coming
out.
out.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. Coming out. I don't necessarily think of it as a coming out. I think of it more as a welcoming in, because there
That's a
was,
great way to put it. It's a
you know,
great way to put it.
because there's nowhere for me to come out. I'm welcoming you into my world, into my truth and how I live. and it's an honor for you to be in my space now. Like, you should feel honored that I told you all about who I am and what I do. So,
Right. Yeah.
yeah,
Hell
address me as your highness. My pronouns are your majesty.
Okay, so when it comes to sex education, a lot of people I know, a lot of DOMs specifically, um, teach classes and stuff like that. There are relationship coaches and everything like that. So, what, why, what inspired you to go into education?
Because people fucking suck.
Yeah,
They're so
was it
bad
Mark
at it.
Twain? Was it Mark Twain said, "Hell is other people"?
Yeah. Oh my god. Oh my god. Let me tell you a story of the most recent like workshop I led. It
Uh,
was a bunch of bachelorettes, 30-year-old women, and I was teaching a blowjob workshop. I gave them all condoms, or sorry, I gave them all dildos first and then condoms because I don't want their saliva on my equipment. And then they all asked me the same question. They said, "How do we put it on?" And I'm like, "You're 30-year-old women and you don't know how to put on a condom? This is insane." I mm, sex education has failed our system so bad. So I was shocked. Okay. You're a grown ass woman. How have you made it this far in life not knowing how to put on a condom? I swear to God, I was gonna lose my shit. I'm like, I can't do this. But basically, the core of why I came into sex education is because I just see a need for it. People need to know how to have sex properly. People need to know how to protect
mhm.
themselves properly, how to get tested, and how to just basically lead a healthy sex life. And
That's
it was
one of
insane. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I'm doing this too, because before I'm aging myself, but I remember a time where you had to really, really search for anything kinky. And if you did, finding anyone who thought that was pleasurable or was interesting also was extremely hard. So there was a core sense of loneliness in kinky people, right? And
Mhm.
connection, stuff like that. And it's the not knowing about the kinks that was the dangerous thing, and could be exciting, because you want to find out, but also people can be predators, take advantage of you, and you
Mhm.
could lose money and stuff like that by talking to the wrong people, by getting catfished and all that stuff. So this show kind of became like an
Mhm.
educational show, which I'm very proud of. So we have Stan question. This is the Stan question. He asked everybody, what kind of superpower would you? Oh wait, oh I'm sorry. This is the Let me do the first question. If you could have any superpower, what would it be, and how would you use it in your kinky time?
Do you know Darth Vader and the way he can just choke someone without touching them? Need I say more?
That's good. That's really good. And no one said that. Stan asks that question all the time. No one said that one. That's a good one. Got to give it up to you, my friend. That's a good one.
Just like choking you without even touching you. Oh my god. I can like get you off without me touching you, and is it cheating? Who's to say?
That's so good. And he has a second part of this question. What kind of superpower would you like your partner to have, and how would you use it in your kinky time?
I'd like them to have the power of invisibility so we don't get caught cheating. What? I listen, I am single though. I practice open relationships. However, if they are in a relationship and they know they're cheating, I'm not the bad guy here. They are. So I don't want to be the one to be in any sort of drama. I know I said I love chaos and I love making things harder for people, but if this is going to be a boner killer, I really need you to get with the program. If you had invisibility and you can just disappear if like we start to suspect your partner is coming this way, then that would be great. I can get a head start.
Okay, we have a couple more questions. Oh, Stan Vladimir says the force is strong with this one. So there are many LGBTQIA plus sex educators out there.
Hmm.
Right? What would you say makes you different from them?
I'm funny.
You are funny. Yeah,
I'm
that's true.
hilarious. Here's the thing. I've seen a lot of sex educators who approach sex with such an academic and very empathetic kind of approach. And I I try to do that too. I
Mm-hmm.
try to give you as much of the science, as much of the facts as possible. However, I find that when people listen to that and just that, they don't retain the information that well. So it needs to be presented in a way that's being told through a story, because people learn and retain information through storytelling better. So I have to use comedy for it. I use comedy to talk about sexual trauma, to talk about hookup mistakes and mishaps, because that way, if people need to know something and follow my lead, then don't do what I did. I fucked up. I messed up so many times. So,
Well, that's another thing. What I tell stories about my life and the miserable, horrible mistakes I've made, so other people don't make them.
yeah.
Learn from me. Right. Okay, let's get serious. Let's get serious. All right. So, being an educator, right? Do you get a lot of LGBTQ educators, sex educators, are getting pushback from the right, the conservatives, and stuff like that?
Mhm.
You know, say
Oh,
like
yeah.
grooming stuff like that. So, what's your response
To the
to them?
conservatives, yeah. So to any conservatives that are pushing back against sex education, do you hear yourselves? Not once have I ever talked to a drag queen and then they're like, "Oh yes, let me just touch your children." Get over yourself. No one is trying to convert your child to be a drag queen. If they go to like what is it, drag queen story time, then let them go. Let your kids go, because they're not being presented with any sort of gender ideology. It's not a thing, okay? Being taught about what trans identities are is not conversion therapy, okay? Let's talk about how we don't criticize heterosexuality being shoved down our throats, okay? Like
Right?
the the Oscars just happened. And I don't
Hmm.
know if anyone watching this watched the Oscars, but
Hmm.
John Cena showing naked, no one's talking about how that's not some sort of, conversion or like grooming.
Hmm. Yeah.
But if a drag queen were to do it, then all of a sudden, oh, panic. Like, shut the fuck up. You're so stupid. Get
So
real.
I'm getting some notes that some questions about your escorting days.
Mm.
Okay. So take us back. What was your very first date, professional escort date?
Believe it or not, it was a woman. It was an older lady, and she just wanted to have someone be with her for the hour.
How did you meet?
Oh, I had a pimp.
Well,
Yeah,
I'll
she
do it.
was great. Yeah, so I rarely had to do any sort of searching. So my story is a little differently compared to most escorts. I had a pimp. She would give me clients, and I had the option to say yes or no. And the first client that she gave me was this older woman, and she was well into her 60s or 70s. I can't remember. And all she wanted was like company. She didn't have anyone else to talk to. Her grandkids don't even call her anymore. and she really just wanted someone to like rub her back, hug her, and listen to her story. And yeah, that was like the easiest hour. And then, I started to get more and more like uh like I don't know what to call it, more, I don't want to call them complicated,
Mm.
but more thorough requests from clients.
So
So
that was your first one.
yeah, just a woman that was like,
That's an
you
easy
know,
go. That's an easy.
yeah, it was an
Yeah.
easy one.
I I was talking to like a dominatrix, and the first one she had to do cock and ball torture.
Mm,
But like right out the gate, she had to like just
CBT.
beat on someone's ball.
Oh yeah,
But
I've
okay,
done that. Yeah, yeah.
so let's go to that was a nice first one.
Yeah, it was nice.
Fast forward to besides the scat one, please not. Let's not go back into it. I lost
You
half my
asked.
audience. I lost half my audience when you started going.
Your
I
fault
don't.
for
I don't
asking.
care. I don't care. Hey. We tackle everything here. So what was the so besides that one? What's the opposite end of that spectrum when it comes to the dates that you had? Um, yeah, the first
What do you
one. What
mean?
was um what was the last one you had? I asked about the first one. What was the last one?
Oh my god, I can't even remember because I'm I consider myself semi-retired. Every now and then I get like a very, very, very old client from way back when hit me up. And the only reason I'll say yes is because I really trust them and we have rapport. Even though I consider my last day of escorting to be 2016. So the more regular clients that I see, like once in a blue moon, are the older gentlemen who just want to have sex. That's it. It's so simple. They just want someone to fuck. They want someone to hold them after they come and talk. And it's my one of my favorite things about sex work is building a rapport with the clients and making sure that everyone is happy, everyone is satisfied. I get paid and he gets to come.
Now, escorts, male escorts, are portrayed in media, in movies and television. A recent movie that I saw a male escort in was "Thank You," or no, "Good Luck to You, Leo Grand." Have you
Mm,
seen that? It's
yeah, I
a
have.
yeah. What are your thoughts on that, or any other core type of television show or movie or even song or whatever that deals with that portrays male escorts?
Well, here's the thing: male escorts are rarely even presented in media.
Yeah.
So really, the Leo Grand movie is probably the only sort of piece of cultural zeitgeist that we have to talk about. But here's my take on it. It's a great movie for anyone watching. It is a wonderful movie. I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it too.
However, I have to put a disclaimer on it that it's not the case for most sex workers. That movie shows the interaction between a straight male escort who is of color and a much older woman who just had a sexless marriage. So it's a very one-dimensional like view of one sex work experience. Even though the movie they hired sex workers as consultants, which I thought was great, but it's not an accurate reflection of the majority of sex work experiences because when you look at it, sex workers are mostly women. Those are like, the derogatory term, the whores and the prostitutes.
Mhm.
And majority of their experiences are fear for their life.
Yes.
They just want to get the money and hope they survive the night and then go. But when you look at male sex workers, rarely are they ever escorts. Or sorry, uh straight male sex workers are rarely ever escorts. They're more in porn like in front of a camera. There's a lot of gay male sex workers, gay male escorts. But yeah, all this to say that the movie Good Luck to You, Leo Grand is a very one-dimensional portrayal of a very niche experience, and it should be treated as such, and it does not encompass the whole sex work experience. It needs to the media rather needs to show a diverse range of experiences to show the realities of sex work, because here's the thing, not everybody enjoys work. Mind blowing, right? For us, it's literally just work, clocking in and clocking out.
Yeah.
Just because it's sex doesn't mean we're going to enjoy it all the time. We just want to go in, get the money, and go.
Stan Vladimir asks, which actor or actress would you like to have as your sub or dom partner?
Henry Cavill. I'm sorry.
As
I'm a,
Superman?
I'm a basic gay. Not as Superman, as Geralt from The Witcher. I'm basic.
And
Screw
would he top you, or would you,
top.
or what?
Hell yeah, top. Oh my god. Uh so I've been thinking about my celebrity fantasies quite a while. I want
Let's
Henry
go there. Do it.
Cavill. I want Henry Cavill as Geralt to be my top, and I want Tom Hiddleston as Loki to be my sub.
Okay.
Delicious.
We got to get Marvel on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
Is it Marvel or is it DC? I forget. I can't
Yeah.
remember.
Let's call Disney because they probably have the connections. But yeah.
Okay, we have some. What makes sex funny?
What makes sex funny? I mean, have you seen sex?
Yeah.
The mushing of bodies going like, blah, blah, blah. Oh yeah, baby. Like, how can you not laugh at that? Like, the okay. Well, to get a little serious here, the funny things about sex are when we fuck up. You know, when we don't know what it is that we're doing, when we are just fucking ridiculous. You know, dirty talk. Let's be real here. Dirty talk is so funny. Oh yeah, do you like that, daddy? I'm your little slut. Like, get real. Nobody talks like that, but that's the fun of it. That's so like fun that you get to do all of these things in bed and just be ridiculous, because sex is what you make of it, and anything outside of that is, you know, like taboo, right? It's the taboo of it that makes it so funny and so interesting. Like I remember being like, what is it, hired for race play, hired for role play, like literal stepdad stepson role play. And I don't know, it's just, you know, human sexuality to me is ever evolving, ever changing, and it's so many things that go unexplored. And I just find it funny when we are like down on all fours and saying, "Oh yeah, slap me," like it's funny.
It is. It's actually, and it can be fun. Kink can be fun. You
Hmm.
know, it can be. Sometimes it is dark and serious and broody and moody and all this stuff, but it also can be very fun. Okay, Kate West question: why are men so obsessed with their own assholes?
Well, I can speak from a gay man perspective. It's because,
Please.
yeah. So gay men are obsessed with their own assholes because it's the only way that we can fuck. Well, okay, it's not the only way, but you know what I mean. It's like the primary way for us to have sex. So we need to stay on top of it, stay on top of our gut health, and make sure everything is clean and nice and prim and proper and bleached if you want to. I'm like a black hole down there. It'll suck light in. So good luck to the next time. But sorry. But from what I've seen with straight men, at least, they're obsessed with their assholes because it's a forbidden zone. It's kind of like oh, what happens if I like it? Does it mean I'm gay? And it just becomes like this focal point, this obsession that like, what is the worst case scenario if you actually like it up the ass? You're gonna be gay? Like, really? Is that the worst thing ever? Also, liking it up the ass doesn't make you gay. It just makes you like it up the ass. Period.
Mm. So, okay. Role play. You were talking about role play, especially with the
Hmm.
escorts as escorting. But do you role
Hmm.
play outside of escorting?
Sometimes, like
Yeah.
my regular hookups, yeah.
What's that? Tell us all about that.
Well, I have daddy issues that I'm working out in therapy.
Okay.
So that means I am very attracted to older men. So watch your back, Nick. I may be coming for your dick. How'd
It's
you
a
know?
black hole.
You may not survive this ass, okay? Many men have explored and many men have gotten lost down there. It is not for the faint of heart, my asshole. When I say it's not for
wait,
the faint of heart, as in it swallowed a butt plug with a flared base.
wait a second. Are you calling me old?
I'm calling you older than me.
Okay.
I'm There's nothing wrong with being old, by the
I,
way.
it is what it is. I'm glad because
Yeah,
I first of all, I like people like who are my age and around my age, um, and I like being old because I have experience and memories.
exactly. Yeah.
Oh my god, I could be creative and like
Hmm.
back up my creativity too. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? That's the fun
Yeah.
of being like I could
That's
say I can fuck you and throw you against the wall, and I can fuck you and I grab your back of your head and
yeah.
fucking ram my cock inside you, and I could do it as opposed to me being young and just saying it.
Nick, take me out to dinner first. Jesus Christ. Uh so uh the role play part of it in my everyday life is more because most of my like partners, they are older
Mhm.
men, and they're in their 60s, and they have this sort of like son kind of fantasy, and I still look pretty young for my age. I'm 31, but I've been told, "Hey, you look 25." And I'm like, "Thank you. It's the water and the virgins I sacrificed to look young forever." Uh
They're very effective.
Thank you. It's hard finding virgins these days.
I know, right?
Yeah.
2024
Yeah. In
in this
2024, you're still a
country.
virgin? Yeah.
I know
You're
in
still a
this country.
virgin? Come on. Get real. Get a dick in you. But yeah, like I get a lot of father son role playing, and it's really more into getting in the zone and the conversation that we have during sex. Like, uh, I step through the door, and then they're like, "Hey, son, how was your day?" And I'm like, "Thanks, Dad. It was great. How was school?" And then it starts to get like more and more into character, and then like, "Oh, son didn't do the dishes. Dad's gonna have to punish him. How?" Face in the pillow, and then
Yeah,
you know.
that's the way to do it.
Mm.
All right. Um, we did the stand question. Now let's fantasize for a second. Okay. You have endless resources. You can go anywhere in the world. You could gather whoever you want. What do you do? What is your ultimate kinky fantasy?
A big orgy in a Greek island, preferably Mykonos or Santorini. Not too sure which one I like more, but maybe Mykonos. The nightlife there is a lot better. I want like a huge, like Mamma Mia sized orgy with ABBA playing in the background.
Mama mia. Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
you know, that would be great. If I could have that, that would be amazing. Doesn't
I'm a
even have to
big
be a Greek
man,
island.
but
Could
I'm
be like
into
Ibiza or something, or an
yeah.
entire country, not just an island. Let's do a whole country.
Yes. Yes. Tim country.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's go.
All right. We're gonna do a game. Okay. We usually don't. We could do the word association game or the overrated underrated game.
Ooh, I like overrated, underrated.
Okay, all right, let's do. Okay, so I'm gonna say some sex related, fetish related, kink related. I won't keep it to fetishes. I'll try to just open it up in general. And you say if it's overrated or underrated and why, just
Hmm.
in one quick sentence or two. Okay. All right. Face slapping.
Overrated. I put my makeup on too much for it to be messed up. Leave it alone.
Butt plugs.
Underrated. Because there are some really tight holes out there that need to practice. Being tight is not always a good thing, people. Loosen up.
I'm gonna use that as a quote. There are some really tight holes out there.
That need loosening up. I never really understood the whole appeal of like a tight hole, whether it's a vagina or an asshole. Like that's not comfortable.
No, no.
No.
It has. It's like it has to be perfect.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It can't
like
be too loose.
mine.
Can't be too tight.
Like my big anomaly of an asshole.
All right, overrated, underrated. Your black hole of an asshole. Black hole of an asshole.
Yeah.
That rhymes. It could be that could be a hook for a song. Black hole.
Black hole sun.
Black hole. Oh, sound bite.
SON.
Man. What are you doing? All right. Overrated, underrated. Rope.
Uh it depends on the rope. If it was like normal, like I forget the name of the twine, is it?
Mhm.
Then it's overrated. I'm sorry. Like my skin is so sensitive that's gonna bleed. I'm not looking to bleed. However, it was if it was like the really soft, like uh velvety feel rope, then yeah, I'm all for it. But all in all, I think rope is underrated. Not many people use it, and I feel like people need to use it more.
All right. Okay. Lingerie.
Ooh, lingerie. Overrated. It's gonna come off anyway. Why do I need that?
Not with me. It doesn't.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm not like kink shaming you, but like get rid of it. I just want to fuck.
Okay. Dildos.
Dildos. Mm, underrated. A lot of guys think that it's competition. A dildo is not your competitor, it is your teammate. Get with the
Yes.
times.
Yes. Yes. Let's add on to that. Strap on dildos.
Underrated. Needs to be utilized more. One of my guests, her name is Luna. She coined the term peg the patriarchy, and she just came up with this dildo that's specifically designed for pegging, for like it's ideal for a strap on, and it's great. I feel like more straight guys need to get with the times and get pegged.
What episode? How can we get an image of that or get in
Oh
touch with?
yeah.
How can we share that
So
podcast?
yeah, so it's like literally all the way in season 1 of my show. If you scroll all the way to the earliest possible episode that you can find, it's titled Luna Pegs the Patriarchy, season 1, episode 1.
Okay. Overrated, underrated. Fire play.
Fire play?
Yeah.
Is that like
That's a
burning,
you know.
actively burning someone?
Yes, it can be, and so, but it's mainly just like having the warmth of the fire, like the cigar play. You know how,
Oh,
but it's with fire.
okay. Yeah, overrated. Why do I need to feel like I'm being roasted? I get enough of that from my therapist.
Ball gags.
Ball gags. I'm gonna be controversial here and say overrated. I
Mhm.
need to talk and I need to communicate whether or not I'm feeling uh pain or something, and I can't do that with my if I'm tied behind my back or something. Also, I fucking hate cleaning the saliva off of it. It's so gross.
Yeah,
It's
they
such a
are kind of
pain.
they are kind of over. They look cool. You know,
Yeah,
you know where you are when you see a ball gag. Let's put it that way.
yeah. Because
You
what if I
know.
get a phone call in the middle of sex and I'm gagged and I'm like, "Well, I just missed my court date. Thank you."
Okay, overrated, underrated. The '50s housewife dynamic.
Ooh, the 50s housewife dynamic. Are we talking about as a role play or
Yeah.
like in real Oh, role play. You know what? Underrated. I like that sort of pinup doll kind of vibe, you know?
Hmm.
Uh and like she'll stay home and cook and do the dishes and all the chores, watch over the kids. And then even after all that, she still needs to be horny in time for the husband to get home. Like that's kind of hot. I I want to be like a 50s housewife at some point because that means I never have to work a day in my life ever again. He'll
You
do
know,
all the work, he'll earn all the money.
I was just thinking about. Are you familiar with the sissification narrative in porn?
I'm not familiar with the narrative, but I know what
Okay,
sissification is.
the sissification narrative in porn is basically forced. Yeah, forced. Sure. It's when a woman takes a young man and locks his cock up in chastity,
Mm,
forces him to wear women's clothing, lingerie, 24/7. He's never allowed to come, like outside the cage, so to speak, and just pegs them constantly, trains them, and then sells them off. That's the
mm,
narrative to,
mm,
to be a prostitute, a whore, stuff like that.
mm.
Yeah. What's your opinion on that?
On the narrative or like cock the cage itself?
Oh, well, go. Let's go to the narrative first.
Uh, you know what? I like it. You know, women need to be empowered more. And if that means locking him up and putting him through hell just to please you, all power to you. I think that's what the feminists fought for. The suffragettes really fought for cock and ball torture, I feel.
Yeah, that's your other shirt that for merch.
The suffragettes fought for cock and ball torture.
All right, we're gonna wind it up, but I want to, like I said, this is a positive show, and what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to document and to kind of make a kinky mythology, you know,
Mm,
of with real people. So, and I think sex, like for me, kink and the BDSM, the community really saved my life. I I would not be speaking with you right now if it wasn't for the BDSM and the kink community, just the freedom of sexual expression.
mm.
So you are a sexually expressive person. You have your own show. You have your own podcast. You used your retired escort. Sex has
Semi-retired.
okay, semi-retired. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. So sex has really changed your life and dictated like your life. How has it saved you?
How has sex saved my life?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. God, I didn't know I was going to therapy today. Jesus. Sex has saved my life because it has taught me about consent. It has taught me about who I am as a person. It has taught me how to be an advocate for myself because had I not known about how to be a good sexual partner, I would not have known how to be a good person. I learned how
Agree with
to
you.
right?
100%. Oh my god.
Right? Like because I embraced all the parts of who I am and my sexual identity and I learned to appreciate those different elements of me. Because the way I treat myself, that's how I can treat other people. I do not want to talk down to myself because I hope to never talk down to another person. Unless you deserve it or unless you ask for it, then like, you know. But uh that's really it. Sex saved me and my relationships because it taught me to care for myself.
Mhm. I also think that people who are very sexually open, we're a little different, right? We laugh at jokes a little differently, see the world a little differently. So I like to think kinky people should help each other out. So how can we help each other out? Other escorts, other just kinky people who are sexually expressive, because there's a lot of people who don't want us to be. There are out
Mm,
there. You know what I mean? So how can we stick together? What are some ways?
to stick together. How do kinky, slutty people stick together?
Yeah.
Well, you know, finding community is always a great way to stick together. And what I mean by finding community is look for those social media channels, look for those clubs, those classifieds, if you will, and educate yourself and learn from other people who experience sex differently other than yours. You may find something that you like, you may find something you don't like, but at least you learned something about yourself. And you'll realize that the more stories that you hear, the more people you interact with, the more you'll feel like you're not alone. Even though it does feel very like isolating that
Hmm.
people will bully you or shame you into thinking that you're not a good person or not normal. Once you find other people who think like you, it's very like it builds a sense of connection that can't be broken.
What do you say to the people who say that people like us are just drowning ourselves in sex and sexuality and not facing our problems?
You're correct. I use sex to avoid problems all the time. You think I'd rather go to therapy than get my ass and my guts rearranged? I don't think so.
Yeah.
No. Uh I'd say go fuck yourself. What do you mean we're using sex to
Yeah.
avoid our problems? What the hell do you mean by that? Sex is not a way to avoid our problems. Sex is a way to express ourselves. Some people use drugs and alcohol to avoid their problems. What about them? Huh? Do you talk to them? Like,
Yeah.
I use sex to express myself. And sometimes I've used sex to face trauma head on. I've literally hired an escort to role play a rape scene because I was drugged and raped, and I had to reshape that trauma by asking a sex worker to help me replay that memory so that I was in control. It's not a way for us to avoid our problems. It's a way for us to change our own narrative, and it's a way for us to like cope. So what if we're using sex to avoid our problems? What's wrong with that?
Yeah.
People use
It's a
fucking
coping.
Netflix. Yeah,
Yeah.
people use fucking Netflix and
Yoga.
drugs, yoga to avoid their problems. No one's criticizing that. We all have our ways to cope. Don't shame sex for being one of them. You're
I'm
just
so
jealous
glad
because
that
you're not getting laid, bitch.
yeah. Okay. We're gonna wind it down, but let's just. Oh, wait. We didn't do this.
Mm,
Rapid fire recommendations.
sure,
Right. They don't have to be kink related, but it helps. Right.
sure.
All right. Recommend a film.
Ooh, Kill Bill, Volume 1.
Oh yeah. Really, you didn't like
So
Volume Two
good.
better?
I
Really?
like Volume 1 because of the fight scene in
Oh
the
yeah.
tea house. Oh,
Oh
so
yeah.
good.
It's
The one with
amazing.
her and Gogo Yubari with the flying mace. Oh, so
Hmm.
good.
The Crazy 88s and
Crazy
the
88s. Yeah, yeah.
Crazy 88s and the band, the five, six, seven, and eights are
Yep.
playing.
So
The,
good. I've
the
watched that movie so many times. It's the
masterpiece.
best.
It's great. Everything Quentin does, it's rewatchable, and every time you
Mhm,
see it, you kind of see something new in it. It's
mhm.
beautiful.
Also, I just love
Uh,
watching women like get violent. It's
did
great.
you? Oh, if you ever want to see, I interviewed the director on this show. It's on
Oh yeah.
Netflix now. It's a movie called Catfight.
Catfight.
And Catfight. Uner Turkel directed it. I interviewed him on the show. It
Mm,
stars Anne Heche, R.I.P. Anne Heche,
mm,
and Margaret Cho. No, not Margaret Cho. Who's oh Stan? If Stan's watching, he knows who it is.
mm.
But the woman who's in Killing Eve, um,
Sandra Oh?
Sandra Oh. That's it. Yeah,
Mhm.
Sandra Oh and Heche. And it's an hour and a half long or 2 hours long, and they beat the shit out of each other.
Cat
Hardcore too.
fight.
Like, yeah, cat fight. Check it out. It
Mm,
is, and it's a deep movie too. There's a lot of symbolism and stuff like that. All right,
mm.
we did the film. Recommend a book.
Anything by David Sedaris. I think he's so
Oh
funny.
yeah, he's
Like,
great.
I'm working my way through an old book right now. Me Talk Pretty One Day. It's so good. This guy is so funny in the way he writes his essays. It's like it tackles some really heavy subject matter, but in a way that makes you laugh and cry with laughter at the end of each essay. It's great.
Awesome. Recommend a song.
Oh my god. Uh oh, that's a hard question because I was in the music industry for 3 years. I can't just pick one song.
It doesn't have to represent you as a person. Just represent like a song you listen to today that you really like. That hey, you should listen to it. It's cool.
Uh you know what's been on replay lately? It's Hiss by Megan Thee Stallion. It's just
Okay.
really any song by Megan Thee Stallion is so good because she is one of the best rappers I have heard in quite a long time. And I've been listening to rap since like NWA and Wu-Tang Clan. And they don't
I
compare to Megan Thee Stallion.
I've interviewed members of the Wu-Tang, like Capadonna,
Mm,
Inspector Deck, stuff like that. I
cool.
love hip hop music. I absolutely love
Mm,
it. I come from New Jersey, New York in the '90s.
mm. So
So
easy.
all those people, like Desmond Q-Tip and Black Star, Most Def was like,
Mm,
like the Native Tongues, De La, but Sean Price and the Boot Camp Clique. But I'm from
mm,
Newark. I'm from Jersey, so the Artifacts, Redman. That's my thing.
yeah. I
So you in
saw
the music
Lauren
industry?
Hill. Yeah, I saw Lauren Hill and Nas one time, and they were great. And the reason why I saw them is because I was in the music industry for 3 years in doing multiple roles over the course of those 3 years. Uh, some of them included managing, being an assistant, A&R, production, and I worked with Universal and Warner and Sony, like all the big labels. I even got this free tickets to see Earth, Wind, and Fire front and center, all because I did their taxes. So,
Nice.
yeah, that was great.
That's cool. What about
Mm.
escorts in the music industry? Do you have any stories about that?
You
Not
know,
you
yeah,
escorting into music, but just escorts going in and out of the music industry.
you know, I don't think I have. I mean, okay, well, she's not an escort, but she's like a stripper who was chosen to dance up and center on stage with Snoop Dogg. So that was great. But I don't really know many escorts that fucked a rap superstar. There
Okay,
could be.
recommendations. We're still on recommendations.
Mhm.
Recommend. All right, we did a song. Recommend a television show.
Archer, my favorite TV show ever.
Fuck yes.
Such a good show.
Danger Zone. Yeah,
Danger
that's awesome.
Zone! Lana,
Lana.
Lana,
Lana.
Lana.
It's such a
Ah,
well written
my
show.
earballs.
It's such a well written show. And
Mm,
Pam is an
Pam,
amazing
sploosh.
character. A
So good.
sploosh.
My
It's
favorite
great.
show. I've rewatched that entire series, even the bad seasons, over and over again.
Now, did you like it when they switched to, you know what I'm talking about? When he was in a coma and it's like this other kind of
Yeah.
everyone is different things and stuff like that, different people.
Yeah.
Each season was like that.
I started to like see the downfall of quality, like, oh, around when they turned freelance CIA agents. I was like,
Okay.
mm. But you know what? It's my favorite show. I
It's a
stand
great
by
show.
it. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's hilarious. It's so
Yeah.
brilliant. And you know what? I'll give it to if anyone out there is sick, binge watch it. It's great just to have on the background. It's fun. You don't have to watch it. The script is so
Yeah. The
hilarious. So funny.
dialogue, so
The
good.
dialogue is so good, so sharp.
Jessica Walter as
Yeah.
Mallory Archer is the best. She has this line
Rest in
that
peace.
may she rest in peace. But one of my favorite lines that she said in the show was like, so she was having an allergic reaction to some zucchini, and then she was kind of like groggy on pills, and she's like, "Immigrants, here they come blasting the raps and shooting all the jobs." Like,
Yeah, sure.
what? She plays racist the best. Good, that saves you from a homophobic remark. She's so good. I love her.
It is great. Okay, we got recommend a meal.
A meal? Oh wow.
Yeah.
Uh God. A meal isn't like a dish or like breakfast, lunch, dinner.
Eddie, this is a meal.
Breakfast for dinner. Breakfast for dinner. Breakfast food for dinner
What
is
kind of
the best.
breakfast? Like what? Pancakes?
So, like literally, I don't know why we only eat pancakes in the morning. So have pancakes, scrambled eggs, some bacon, and hash browns. Like do a full breakfast meal at night.
Yeah.
Who gets to say when that is supposed to be eaten, right? Why does it have to be limited to breakfast? I want to eat it at night too.
It's my body. I'll put what I want in it.
Yeah, or however many things I want in it.
All right. All right, we're winding it down. So this is the final question. Now, we've been around, right? We've experienced things, but we're still going on this journey. So where would you like it to take you? Where would you like this path to take you, this kinky path that you're walking on?
I hope it takes me on like a whole bunch of adventures, and I continue to make connections through my sex education career. So I've made a lot of friends from all over the world, you included, Nick, that,
Oh, thank
you
you.
know, like, yeah, you're a friend now, right? So
Yeah.
I've made
Thank
friends
you
with
for
all over the world because we sluts who are like cut from the same cloth. And I hope it takes me to different parts of the world to see those friends, because when I tell you that sluts from different parts of the country or different parts of the world fuck differently, they fuck differently.
let's talk about that.
Yeah.
I was gonna end the show, but fuck that. How do sluts from around the world fuck differently? So, like, can I just name a country?
uh Probably not. I haven't traveled that much.
Hmm. All right.
I've traveled to Greece, Iceland, Thailand, my home country, the Philippines, and different parts of the United States and Dominican Republic. Yeah. And Hong Kong there.
And how do they differ?
It's really like reflective of the culture. So, for example, in the United States, I've had sex in California and I've had sex in New York. The New York gays, they fuck so fast and so like, come on, I need to hurry it up. I've got a rooftop party to get to. I need you to be in and out. I'm like, okay, where's the
He never
romance?
sleeps. Yeah,
Yeah,
never sleeps.
Jesus. Right. And then in California, the California West Hollywood gays, they're like too lax sometimes that they overstay their welcome. This guy, he like thought he could sleep over at my Airbnb, and I was like, no, 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 I'm done with you. You can go. Call yourself an Uber and get rid of yourself. I'm gonna hop in the shower. I'm gonna take 10 minutes tops. And if you're still here, I'm calling the cops. Okay. So you need to go. And
My
then,
favorite, my favorite movie is Get Out.
yeah. And the one I hate is Us.
Oh, that was good.
uh, and and then again, it's also reflective of uh, in different countries. So, for example, in the Dominican Republic, I hooked up with what do you call him? Not a bus boy, but like towel boy or something from the hotel next to mine, and he was very like kind of demure and very much like shy, because I guess the Dominican Republic has a very Christian Catholic background. So it was very that like he was very cautious to approach, but then he let up. But even then, in the act of like when we were in bed, he was like, "Is it okay if I hold your hand? Is it okay if I like put this in you?" And I'm like, "Yes, you don't have to keep asking me. It's fine."
Oh, that's very interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
what country do you want to go to? What do you think that they're like?
Uh, I definitely want to go to Spain because I think that do nothing but fuck. That's- I think that's literally all they do. That's why they don't get anything done, and their politics is garbage because they're too busy having sex.
There's a song by a band called The Fall called "I'm Going to Spain."
Yeah,
I'm gonna send it to you. You're gonna like it. It's great. When you go to Spain, you put it on and
sure.
go to plane to the airport. It'll be great.
Yeah.
I'll go to Spain.
Yeah.
Okay. So where? How can we get in touch with you? If someone wants, if you are semi-retired escort, but you are a sex therapist and a podcaster, uh, who wants to? You need advertisers. You need people. You need listeners, right? You need people to educate. How can
Sure.
people get in touch with you? Promote
Yeah,
yourself.
so I'm gonna make like a butt and plug. I'm going to plug. So first of all, thanks for having me on your show, Nick. It's been an absolute pleasure. I want to plug my show, Sex Ed with Tim, streaming wherever you get your podcasts, Spotify, Apple, Google Play, Podcast, iHeartRadio, whichever, wherever you find it. Sex Ed with Tim. And then there's my Twitter and my Instagram at Sex Ed with Tim. And then there's my website, sexedwithtim.com. There you can find all of my content, my blog post, my advice column if you want to write in. You can even send me a voicemail and it could be featured in the next episode. You don't have to say your name, but your question could make an appearance in the next episode that I air. And I get to answer your questions. I love getting fan mail if you just want to say hi, hello. My email is on the website. Again, it's sexedwithtim.com and at sexedwithtim on all the socials.
Thank you. That's awesome. I'm gonna definitely call and leave a message. That's gonna be fun.
Yeah,
Everybody, yes, everybody, all the YKF fans, go and call, leave wonderful messages. Um, yes. So please go to yourkinkyfriends.com. I just got suspended off Facebook. I guess it doesn't help
oh,
writing a book.
congrats.
Yeah. Doesn't help writing a book called The Coolest Way to Kill Yourself. That's always a red flag, I guess. So
You've
buy
been
the book.
suspended off Instagram and TikTok.
It's a write a package. Oh, yeah. TikTok, it's like I didn't even know how to use it and I got kicked out.
Mhm, mhm,
Like, and supposedly, I don't know if you're
mhm.
following the news, TikTok may not be able to be used in the US.
Oof.
Um, they're
I mean,
check out
Universal
politics.
just like pulled their copyright contract with TikTok, so it's a
Yeah,
lot of music out.
a lot of music. But yeah, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram, Nicholas Tanek. Buy my book. Your Kinky Friends is a book. Podcast YKF on Spotify. Um, Also, I have another book called Your Kinky Friends. I mean, I have another book called The Coolest Way to Kill Yourself, and a book called Chip Black Nail Polish. Chip Black Nail Polish is about the punk rock scene in New Jersey, and you know what the coolest way to kill yourself is. Yeah, just the rules, everybody, and go forth, be kinky, and remember, be cool, be kind.
Go fuck yourself. Literally.
Yeah, do that. But be cool, be kind, keep an open mind. Take care.